ever struggle to grasp why someone makes the choices that they make? Or maybe there's a choice that you need to make and you know you need to do it, but you can't quite get it done. There's a very simple formula behind how we all make choices, like everything has to do with our inner world. Choices are made based on the amount of anxiety either option leaves us. So for example, let's say you're in a job and you really don't like it. It makes you miserable. You don't want to be doing it anymore. And you know that you need to move on, but you don't. You don't move on. You don't take that step to go look for jobs. Why? Because though it causes you so much anxiety to stay where you're staying and so much misery, the idea of putting yourself out there in the world and maybe getting rejected causes you even more anxiety. Maybe you need to let one of your employees go because they're just making a mess of what's happening at the office. They're not doing their job, they're overpaid, whatever it is. Well, that might cause you a lot of anxiety. But if going to that person and saying, I'm sorry, I've got to lay you off, causes more anxiety, you're not going to make that choice. Maybe you need to say no to some things on your plate, and you know that, but you just can't make yourself do it. Why? Because even though it makes you miserable to be overloaded and overburdened, it makes you more anxious to imagine that person being upset that you have to say no to. Or maybe it makes you more anxious to think of yourself as someone who can't quite do it all. All choices are made based on the level of anxiety we have. So what do you do when you have to make a real choice? Well, first of all, you must recognize that there is always a choice. We like to say, oh, I have no choice. I just have to do this. That's not true. There's always a choice. We just not might like the choice that we have. Years ago, when I was a couples therapist, I treated a couple who came in for intimacy issues. I didn't know this in the beginning, but after several sessions, they came in one day and this woman finally said, listen, this is the real reason we're here. I'm not happy with our intimate life and he doesn't want to talk about it. And I verified with him, nope, he didn't want to talk about it. It was like airing dirty laundry. You don't do that. And so she said, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm just stuck here. I'm not allowed to have an intimate relationship and I have no choice. And I said, oh, no, you have a choice. He's not saying you don't have a choice. He's saying you don't get to have an intimate relationship with him. But whether or not you get to have an intimate relationship is entirely up to you. Well, guess what happened? His ears kind of peaked up because he was in his own bind. He did not want to be forced to talk about intimacy. And he felt like now he didn't have a choice. And I said, oh no, you get a choice too. You get one, you all get choices. You get a choice too. You don't have to talk about intimacy, but you might not be able to stay married to her. That's your choice, right? We come up against these difficult choices in life. So it's very important, number one, that you understand you always have a choice. There's no victims here. We always get a choice, but we really might not like the choice that we're getting. So we have to be honest with ourselves. The second thing that you can do is if you need to push yourself in a direction, or maybe you need to push your children in a direction, right? Like maybe you need your kids to start doing chores or to get a job or all of those things. What do we need to do with ourselves and with others? Make the choice that we want to make less uncomfortable than the choice we don't want to make. So if you want your kid to get a job, then you've got to make it more uncomfortable for him to go without having a job. I'm giving you an example, like if he's living with you and you want him to get to work, those kind of things. If you want your kid to, do more, help out more around the house, you've got to make it more uncomfortable for him or her to not help out around the house than it is to deal with your nagging or whatnot. For yourself, if you know, for example, that you want to build your business, you want to grow your business, but you just can't move yourself in that direction, it's because it's causing you more anxiety to think about putting yourself out there or doing some of the things that building your business means cause you more anxiety than the anxiety of not building your business. You need to make the anxiety of not building your business bigger than the anxiety of doing the things you need to do to build that business. How do you do that? You start thinking about what are the consequences of not doing this thing that I really want to do. Write those down. Write down, what does it mean if I don't fulfill my dreams? What will I feel like if? Get into real contact with what the real issue is for you if you don't do what you want to do in that example, and see if you can raise that anxiety level up, that when you go to do the functions that you need to do to build that business, for example, you're like, oh, I can do it, because this just causes me more anxiety. The thought of never making it to wherever you're trying to make it to is causing me more anxiety than doing these other things. When you begin to shift the balance on these things, that's how you know what choice is going to be made by other people. And it's also how you know what you need to do to get you to make the choice that you need to make. That's why people, for example, lose weight before a wedding, right? They didn't do it. But the anxiety of showing up to a wedding where they're going to see all these people that they haven't seen in all these years is greater than the anxiety of not getting to eat everything that they want to eat whenever they want to eat it, or the anxiety of going to the gym or whatever that is. Give this a try. I guarantee you that if you're struggling with a choice, or there's someone in your life who is struggling with a choice or not doing what it is that you think is the obvious choice, it's because there is an underlying imbalance on the discomfort that the choice that they're making causes them versus the choice that would be in our best interest causes us or them.